Good morning. Hi, thanks for being here today. I'm Pam Fox. This morning I'm going to be eating my breakfast. This is just steel cut oats. There's some frozen fruit in there. That's the Costco frozen fruit medley, mangoes, peaches, strawberries, pineapple. And then there's some fresh berries in there and a little bit of almond milk. And a little bit of cinnamon and a little bit of sugar. Oh my gosh. I feel better already. Oh, there's raisins in here too. I should have chopped up this fruit before I started. It's huge chunks. So, this morning I'm feeling hungover. I didn't drink last night. I'm feeling mildly nauseous. My skin was all swollen this morning and puffed up. My eyes were kind of like, swollen shut. I literally feel better already. So, I don't know, sometimes I get like these hangovers. Different foods can trigger them. Can be vegan junk food, like cookies or donuts or cakes. Sometimes potato chips, they're really high in sodium. I discovered pop chips recently. I almost finished a whole bag in 2 days. So it's a lot of salt for me, like more than I'm used to. This is a new oatmeal I'm trying. It's Costco's quick cooking steel cut oats. I think $7.99 for a huge bag of oatmeal. It's really good. Kind of defeats the purpose of steel cut oats to make them quick cooking, but because steel cut oats are their oats in their whole form without being all, they're less processed. So in order to make them quick cooking, you have to process them more. So I thought I'd try them. They don't look highly processed. They look like steel cut oats that have been chopped up a little bit. So this morning, I need to finish my thought. So last night we had these beautiful kind of a burrito dinner. It was flour tortilla, lettuce, beans, rice, salsa, and cashew cheese that Dwayne made. That is so good. Oh my gosh. It's cashews and garlic and salt and some kind of pepper he puts in there. But he puts a little nutritional yeast in it. And I swear, every time I eat nutritional yeast, I wake up with a headache. I wake up swollen. I don't feel very good. I don't feel horrible. Like, I'm up. I'm on time. I'm going to work. I'm making a video. I'm not my best, though. I'm not feeling my best. So I think there's something in that nutritional yeast that just doesn't agree with me. I know if you're out there and you're listening and you're vegan, I'm sorry. Vegans love their nutritional yeast because it kind of mimics, it's got kind of a cheesy flavor. Isn't it sad? Today's strawberries, they don't taste anything like the strawberries I remember, do they? They're not sweet because they're picked green, the big ones. And then every now and then you get like a fresh strawberry like you grow in your yard or you go out and buy them from a local farmer. Oh my gosh, they're so good. These aren't very good. They're organic, but they're not sweet. All right. So anyway, on with the show. I told you in my last video that I was going to talk a little bit about marriage. And I'm feeling so much better that when I started this video this morning, I didn't know if I could do it, but I'm thinking now that I can. So, let's see. I learned something new recently about me and about my marriage. Well, more about me, but it applies to my marriage. I've been married for, it was 5 years this month. We just celebrated our 5th year anniversary. Before that, I was single for 13 years. After my husband died, I never thought I'd get married again. I was open to the idea, but I really didn't think it was going to happen. And I was fine with that. And then something changed along the way. A couple years before I met Dwayne, I started to think it'd be nice, you know. I don't know, something changed. I could do a whole video on that, but when we got married, I was concerned. I was concerned right away. It doesn't have anything to do with Dwayne. God knows. I am a lucky woman. He is an amazing man. He's an amazing man, an amazing husband, and I'm a lucky woman. We'll just leave it at that. I am so lucky. He's a saint. He's not perfect, but he's a really, really good husband. One of the reasons I married him was because to me, marriage has always been sacred. You know, it's a covenant between a man and a woman before God. It's a covenant. It's a sacred bond that you take seriously and that you work at, and it's not going to be easy, and you make it a priority and these kind of things. You know, you put it at the top of your list, your marriage, boom, right up there. And, you know, if things aren't working out very well, you don't just say, well, I gave it a shot, let's move on. You know, you figure out how to resolve the problems or, you know, whatever. Okay. I'm liking my new camera, by the way, my new phone, my new Samsung. So I felt very passionately about that. I felt very strongly that marriage, you know, you're in it for the long run. And Dwayne felt that way too. And I felt like there was some conflicts in our relationship that might, you know, we only dated for 6 months, but I felt like those kind of red flags would definitely kind of, you know, shine a lot brighter, you know, once we've been married for a while, which was true. But I felt like because marriage was a priority to him and because, you know, we agreed on that, you know, and he's so good at expressing love. Like, he's so good at finding new ways to express his love to me. It's just like, he's amazing. It's been 5 years and he has not given up on just finding new ways to express his love to me, like almost on a daily basis. I told you, I'm a lucky woman. So, but yeah, so here's my philosophy on, and then I'll get to the lessons I recently learned. I have this philosophy about marriage that it really just boils down to personality types. The success is determined by these personality type combinations. So you can get, you can get a person who's really laid back and a person who's really hyper, and you put them together. You know, they say opposites attract. And that can create some problems. Or you can get, you know, two people who are really, really laid back. Laid back, that's a technical term. And, you know, they rarely ever fight because they're laid back. They just let everything go. Or even if you have just one person in the mix that's just able to let everything go, then, you know, then the other person can kind of be the boss and they always get their way. So you have these different combinations of personality styles or traits. And, you know, when you fall in love with somebody, you know, they say opposites attract. Sometimes you fall in love with someone that, you know, you have everything in common with. Sometimes you have, you know, very little in common, but you still fall in love and you want to be together. And so, you know, sometimes you just get lucky and your personalities really mesh and you get along really well. And sometimes no. So with Dwayne and I've always considered myself a pretty laid back, fairly relaxed person. He's not. But the problem is, like I said, I was single for 13 years. So I was the boss for 13 years. I did things my way for 13 years. I had to question no one for 13 years. And I think I got used to that. So I've never really thought of myself as a highly stubborn person. I really don't. See, this fruit, they pick it when it's not quite ripe. It tastes pretty good, but the best fruit is nice, ripe, sweet fruit. But this is pretty good. Don't you hate it when you bite your tongue? Ow. Okay. That hurt. I'm bleeding a little bit. Okay, so anyway, so when we got married, and I'm talking about the little things, and I'm getting to what the lesson that I learned recently that I want to share with others because I think it's really, really important. And if it can help someone, then that's great. And I think if you could really receive what I'm about to say, I think it could help your marriage. I lost my train of thought because I bit my tongue. Okay. You know that saying, don't sweat the small stuff? And then the saying goes on to say, and it's all small stuff? Okay. So that is kind of where I'm headed with this. You know how when you're married, there's a lot of decisions to be made and you have to make those decisions together and you have to come to some kind of a compromise so both people are happy, right? Well, so I'm talking about the small stuff. I'm talking about decisions. You know, are we going to get black appliances or stainless steel appliances? Are we going to put our new deck on with horizontal lines or vertical lines? Do we want green throw pillows or red throw pillows? You know, that kind of stuff. The small stuff. Because Dwayne and I, because he's stubborn and he likes to get his way, and he's always right. And because I did things my way for 13 years, this posed a problem in our marriage. And so, you know, obviously, I'm not going to let something like, you know, the length of his hair, you know, long hair or short hair, again, a decision, ruin my marriage. You know, I try to let a lot of things go. I really do. But what I recently learned, and I don't know why I learned it, but it hit me like a ton of bricks. You know how sometimes in life you just have these revelations that just like, where did that come from? Why did it take me so long to learn that? It's just elementary. You know, some things are just so elementary and profound at the same time. You're just like, I don't know. So what hit me like a ton of bricks was this. Some things, a lot of things, almost most things, they don't matter. And that's it. They just don't matter. And you might think, well, that sounds good, but applying that would be really difficult because you're going to come to, you know, crossroads where he wants to go one way and she wants to go the other way, and you're going to feel pretty strongly about it. And so, you know, to give in all the time, that'd be very difficult. And so when this hit me like a ton of bricks, that was kind of my thoughts. Like, well, that sounds like really good right now here in the moment, but I doubt if I'm going to be able to apply this. But for me, I'm the type of person, and I know not everybody feels this way, but I'm the type of person, I don't think things are going to get better in this world. Actually, I do think they're going to get better, but I think they're going to get a hell of a lot worse. I believe that, personally. I think things are going to get really, really ugly. There could be, you know, a stock market crash, like a major recession where money has no value and, you know, people are rioting in the streets and starving to death. People could start dying of a mass outbreak of some kind of a virus. We could get, you know, attacked by our enemies. There could be nuclear attacks. Or it could be something small. I mean, women might start becoming, you know, infertile because of all the toxins. You know, it could be anything. I just think things are going to get really ugly. I think that right now we live in a time, me personally, here in America, where I am just so stinking fortunate. I have no idea. Like, you know, I think things are going to get really bad. And so, you know, that's really a kind of sounds like a pessimistic way to live your life. And I don't live my life in fear. I just feel like that's the reality of the matter. And there's no point in being scared. I think it's coming. I'm not scared. I don't think it's going to be pretty. I don't think it's going to be easy. Like if I were to survive something like that, I would hope I wouldn't survive something like that. I'd rather just be taken out quickly. But, you know, I don't want to roam the streets with people, you know, trying to kill each other for food and trying to, or in a nuclear, you know, or a, you know, I wouldn't want to survive something like that. But if I did, you know, I'm okay with it. Anyway, all that to say that, you know, whether your new refrigerator is black or white or stainless steel, does it really matter in the grand scheme of things? And even if there weren't, you know, this horrible future ahead of me, even then, does it really matter? I mean, does it really matter? It doesn't. It doesn't matter. And furthermore, am I really going to allow the small stuff, you know, don't sweat the small stuff. Am I really going to allow the small stuff to become a wedge in my marriage? Do you guys ever think about this? What is a wedge? You know, one of those wedges where they put it in the log and it like a log splitter and it splits the log. So as long as we allow those things to become wedges in our marriage, then eventually our marriage is going to be a pile of kindling. It's not going to be whole. It's not going to be strong. It's not going to be unified. And that's what we want in our marriage. We want it to be whole and strong and united, right? We gotta go to work. Okay. So with that, just remember that you always have a choice in your marriage. You have a choice every day whether you want to push for your way, stand your ground, be right, and get what you want, which will then potentially become a wedge in your marriage, make it weaker. Or you can let that stuff go and remind yourself that it really doesn't matter. And in so doing, your marriage will be, you know, it'll be a stronger bond because you didn't allow something to separate you, to push you apart. And that's it. All right, I'm going to finish my breakfast. I got a couple minutes before I have to go to work. Thank you for watching.